Black Clover chapter 282 is a very polarizing chapter, I think, to say the least. It's one of those chapters where it's definitely going to split the fandom a lot, and we've already been seeing this if you follow the like spoilers over the course of the weekend and these kind of things. There's like it's pretty much split into two groups of people, where there's a group of people that are really hyped for Asta's transformation and really hyped for Asta defeating a giant demon, and then there's the other group that's kind of like, this felt kind of weird. Asta's form looked kind of weird. I don't know how I feel about this. This is kind of a lot, and it's weird because like I want to say I'm in the middle, more towards like leaning towards the former, being like, I don't like, the form looks weird and I don't know how I feel about this. That's just me personally. When I first read the spoilers, I didn't like the chapter, like, or when I looked at the unofficials, or I guess like I knew it was without the text, I didn't like them. But after reading the chapter with the officials, it's kind of different. Seeing the art better is definitely a like huge help. So I like the form a lot more. But I just still have like things that I dislike about it. But overall, as far as a hype Asta chapter, it was very hype. And as far as like some of the other characters like Klaus and stuff, they're really cool. Um, but I'll kind of get into that as I give my review of it. So basically, in the beginning of the chapter, it leaves off right where like Asta like had stuck a sword into the giant like ball of anti magic, and he's about to go into his devil union. And I do think it's really cool here because we get this page of Yuno and Xenon again, because Xenon was the one telling Yuno about this like last chapter, and now again in this chapter we get Yuno's response to that, to which he's like, unfortunately for you, the Clover Kingdom still has that guy, referring to Asta. Now one of the cool things about here is it's that an Asta thing again, where they both have like unlimited faith in each other, and I almost feel like this kind of like puts to rest any thoughts that people had of possibly being really dark in this arc, because up until now I really don't feel like has been the same since the Golden Dawn massacre. He's definitely been really like depressed, it seems like, because in any panel we see him in, he has like bags under his eyes and he's not really smiling at all. Even when him and Us were talking to each other at the end of the captain's meeting, typically smiles when he talks to Asta, but like he didn't this time. So a lot of people were saying that like, oh, is definitely a lot darker now. He's a dark character. He could potentially go down a different path. But with this, I mean, we can kind of see that maybe that might not necessarily be the case. Me personally, I never thought that this was going to be the case, but it is what it is. Then after that, we do get to see Asta's Devil Union transformation, and honestly, in the unofficials, like in as far as it looked really bad, like you really couldn't even see any of the definition. But in the officials, it's nice because we can see a lot more of it. We can see a lot more of the design in his chest. We can see that his headband is doing some weird thing. Like I feel like it's one of those things where people speculate that there's something about the headband, but me personally, I almost feel like this is like just Tabata adding his little artistic flair to it. I don't really think that the marking on the headband particularly has anything to do with anything outside of looking like the markings on like demons. But that's just that. Um, the only thing that I honestly dislike about this form is only one thing. It's really small. It's just that he looks really slim in this form. Like we know, like Asta bulked up over the time skip. He's a lot bigger, but in this form, he looks like he's back to like pre-time skip Asta size in terms of his his muscle mass. And
Hear me out, dude.
I get it. Some people probably don't really care all like that. They just care if the form looks cool or not. But me, it just seems odd. It just seems odd that he slimmed down. Some people have said that they could be merging characteristics of Libby as well as Asta, whereas Libby is really skinny. So I mean, if that's kind of the explanation, then I guess it makes sense. But if it's not, if it's just like something that the fandom is just trying to think of to cover up for it, or not cover up, but to like make a reason for it, then I'm like, eh. But overall, the form looks cool. I just dislike that he's skinny. That's all it is. We do get to hear that his form lasts for 5 minutes, which is a decent bit of time. Like it's enough time to have a pretty intense fight. And like immediately after that, I love this moment a lot in this chapter when he like refers to Daminato as like magic parliament guy, and he's like, with the power of a demon, I'm gonna like protect the country, and it's just like it's a really dope moment right here, because I also like put no respect on Daminato's name. Like I know he knows his name, but he just didn't call him by it. So that was like that was a good moment for Asta and me in this chapter. Also getting to see the large silhouette of Levy like kind of overtake, not overtaking, but like overshadowing the actual ancient demon itself was a really dope moment too. Because this form, the original form, or not, I guess not the original, but the whole silhouette form that we had gotten used to for Levy was, to me, is still way better than what Levy actually looks like. It looks so much cooler and way more menacing. Well, at least, of course, not to my surprise. Like the actual like citizens are kind of like taken aback by this, which makes sense. I mean, if you're a regular citizen and there's a giant ancient demon attacking you, and then you see another giant demon devil type thing pop up, you're not really going to feel too much better. But we do get to see some of the characters that we hadn't seen in a while, like Rebecca, as well as Sister Teresa, Marie. Like we've seen some of them last chapter, like Solid Never, Kier, Soul, and all them. Kind of like talking about how like giving their opinions on like, oh, it's Asta, or like Sir Never and Solid, they're like, damn, we gotta get protected by a peasant again. Whereas like everyone's favorite moment right here should be Klaus. Klaus is like, yeah, he's gonna protect the kingdom, not because he's devil possessed, but because he's a better magic knight than anybody else. Which that was like such a hype moment with Klaus right here. Klaus is like the perfect example of like what people should have been like, or what people will probably more so be like going forward in Black Clover. They'll be like really hype about Asta, and this is when we get like Asta just like basically cutting the ancient demon to pieces. We do get an explanation for this because in the unofficial images it's just like, wow, Asta's just killing this thing. But the actual explanation would be, so the thing with the ancient demons there is they repel all types of spells in existence, according to Julius. Like apparently they're just overall extremely resistant to magic in general. So they just, and then from there they just like just use their overwhelming size and strength and just attack. But because of this, they literally have no way to defend against anti-magic, which makes sense. If their skin is really resistant to magic, like if they themselves are just a giant, essentially form of supercharged magic, like just a big mass of magic, it would make sense that they just have no way to defend against anti-magic. It's like they are literally made out of magic. Because in my mind, I was thinking that like they were just giant demons like made of flesh and bone, and like, or like maybe not like, I'm not talking about like human flesh, but like demon flesh and bone. I guess if that kind of makes sense. But since they're actually just made out of magic, just super condensed, like supercharged magic, that makes it a lot more sense on why Asta is able to do like what he's able to do against them. Which is okay, I guess. It would make sense why. Essentially, it's much easier for Asta to beat one of these guys than anybody else. I mean, this is a common theme in Black Clover, where Asta has a really good matchup against a lot of people. Or against most people, but some people have a worse matchup. Like take LeJoes for example, he would have a much worse matchup against Asta than say Luck. Or take this ancient demon, he has a way worse matchup against Asta. Or even the dark disciple skin dude has a way, like basically anybody who is like all powerful defense against magic pretty much will have a even worse time against Asta. And then after that, we do get Asta's like great moment where he like cleaves up the entire demon and it just like falls apart. And everyone in the kingdom is able to see this. I really like the moment with Julius when Julius like is like fanboying right here, because Julius, despite being in a really bad spot right now, like everyone, like Julius, you just got exposed and you're excited about magic. So it's just, or you're excited about Asta's new technique or new form. Like Julius is just really funny here to me. And then the last thing we get here is Gimadello forming, and he's really concerned about Noct, meaning that probably the fight between Noct and the two devils that got out is probably not going well. But again, like I never really expected Noct to really do much against those two. Like if they had Noct like just clapping those two or clapping one of them, I'd be like, why is Noct not a captain if that was the case? But it'll just be really interesting to see how this is gonna go going forward. Like with Asta, basically, all right, yeah, now let's go to the Spade Kingdom. I know a lot of people are saying that Gimadello is probably gonna teleport him there using shadow magic, but like I don't think Gimadello can do this for the reason of like the shadow magic is Noct's thing. It doesn't really belong to his devils. Like his devils just put characteristics to his shadow magic. So I'm not for sure if Gimadello himself can do this. I mean, if it happens, cool, but that's really not where my money is banked on. A lot of people assume he's just going to fly there. I kind of think there's going to be a spatial mage to take him there. Maybe Cobb. I don't know if you guys remember Cobb. He like is the weird dude. He has like a like afro, and he just looks really weird. And he has like the like door spatial magic. I'll put a picture up of him if I can find. But I think maybe Cobb is going to take him there, or let him go there. Who knows? And as for the Union, like I kind of really hope it has like a drawback, cause it like if it's just like where it's black form where he kind of like went out of it and he was like slightly weaker but not really and just couldn't go it again for a long time. I mean that was a drawback, but I want like I don't know if you guys remember like back in Dragon Ball Z when Goku would go Kaioken and he was like after he went out of Kaioken, he was like, all right, I can't fight. Like it was a huge drawback. Or like maybe not anything as silly as pre-time skip Gear Third Luffy where he gets all chibi. Maybe not anything that silly, but maybe like somewhere around like Gear Fourth where he can't use Haki for 10 minutes. Maybe like his anti magic is like way weaker for a period of time. Like I want some type of consequence or something. Just I don't know. I just want like some type of consequence or maybe some type of like drawback or something. I mean, it's not like a necessary thing. That's just something I like to see in my like main characters or my protagonists. I'm really curious to know how you guys are feeling about his union form down below. Like, do you guys like how it looks? Do you guys not like how it looks? If you don't, let me know why. Like, was the muscle thing weird for anybody else, or was it just me? Like overall, like I said earlier, the star thing on his chest is really cool. The headband thing is dope. The two lines on his face is a little weird. I don't know what those are about, but I mean, it'll probably be something or probably be explained. Um, I'm definitely really interested to get back to the Spade Kingdom because I mean, like, I really want to know what's going down there with those devils out and with like Morris opening gates. It could potentially be one of those things where more gates have opened. Like since we were in the Clover Kingdom for a little bit, more time could have passed and more demons or devils and demons I guess could be out. So I'm really interested to see how that is going to go. So overall, I give the chapter like it was hype, but like I said, me personally, I was just a little iffy on it. So I'd give it like a 6.5, 7. 7 seems pretty fair. Seven's the highest I'll give it for me personally, because it was just like it was like a new form and just Asta. Like that was it. Like we didn't get any like push and plot type stuff. But again, everything looked amazing. Like six spreads in one chapter. Tabata was going off. I'll give him his credit on that one all day. But yeah, let me know how you guys feel about the chapter down below. Let me know what you guys are gonna think is gonna happen next. Make sure you guys like the video as well as subscribe to the channel for more Black Clover content coming up. You guys enjoy the rest of you guys' day, and I will see you all in my next video.